There is a large portion of East Asia that some say is host to another alternate dimension. But if there is any evidence of invasion, it is limited and circumstantial. When the rest of the world was being overrun with massive reality-altering squalls, the Far East was only experiencing their typical seasonal monsoon-like conditions. There are some witnesses who say that this time they also brought with them an unusual hue of red and blue that accompanied the reality storms of the other worlds, but no visual record of this occurring is available. The storms did not bring with them an environment-altering rearrangement of reality like what happened with the other regions on Earth. There were no maelstrom bridge portals reaching into the sky, and no earthquakes shook the ground. Armies didn't emerge in mass, conquering territory or enslaving inhabitants. There were no mass transformations of the population, and no unusual abilities manifested in the area. The storms did bring one thing with them other than the floods of rain, though: the tsunami of infection. What was at first believed to be political uprisings, the government moved their military into portions of China to pacify mobs of citizens who were in a state of panic and disarray. Hospitals were being overrun by patients, and emergency services were overtaxed as a new contamination began to spread among the people. This illness took over a person's body and mind and transformed them into a frenzied, enraged, and bloodthirsty creature. The virus spread quickly through bites, scratches, and the blood of the blighted host, and the mobs of people fleeing the plague became hordes of defiled humans spreading their illness. The unfortunate individuals who fell to this disease would become known as Jiangxi in China, not just due to their increased strength, agility, and speed, but because of their cannibalistic spread of the virus. It was anarchy and pandemonium as the authorities couldn't decide who to shoot at and who not to. The rest of the world was struggling with the unfolding invasion and could not offer aid or support. The chaos intensified as the panic spread, and Asia was left to fend for itself. Outbreaks can get out of control quickly. Epidemics can rapidly turn into pandemics, and without emergency safeguards, the spread of disease can quickly extinguish a population. Mere hours after the reports started coming in from China, hospitals in Tokyo began to identify symptoms relating to these kyonchi, as they were being called in Japan. Hours later, Busan, South Korea, started broadcasting rumors and reports of Gangshi contamination causing widespread hysteria in their city. All across Eastern Asia, governments were declaring states of emergency, and martial law was placing the whole region under an intense lockdown. The stress and spread of the affliction caused the entire social structure within the region to collapse. Governments shut down except for the rapidly depleting emergency services and prioritized military quarantines. As business and commerce ground to a halt, supply ran out and demand became a matter of survival. National borders became less secure. In a matter of days, Pyongyang, North Korea was broadcasting emergency requests for help with the infirmity. With the prospect of the complete devastation of humanity looming on the horizon, the catastrophe was averted by the bold and decisive actions of the mysterious Kanawa Corporation. Helicopters emblazoned with the company logo began flying over infected neighborhoods and quarantine zones, releasing a strange gaseous mist that coated everything in a layer of dew that pacified the berserker rage of the diseased. Private security forces wearing the Kanawa brand logo began patrolling the streets, aiding with the quarantine efforts, finally containing the contagion wherever they intervened. A week after the crisis began, the CEO of the Kanawa Corporation announced that along with government approval and cooperation, that his company would oversee a collaborative plan between businesses and bureaucracy to halt the spread of the virus and distribute the placating gases among the population. With the new Kanawa plan put into action, the corporation grew to mega-corp status overnight, as their merchandise for personal security and protection was bought out by anyone left uninfected. Not all nations were as quick as Japan to accept the aid of the Kanawa plan, fearing the rapidly advancing corporatocracy's influence. At first, countries such as China and Taiwan refused assistance from Kanawa, but as the weeks went by, the virus had mutated some of the contaminated into an even more dangerous evolution. These new infected were being referred to as yokai because of their extended claws and teeth and twisted, overgrown limbs. As this new breed of flesh eaters broke out of the quarantine zones, the riots and panic escalated, forcing the stubborn territories to eventually, reluctantly, open their borders to Kanawa. The dominating conglomerate empire known as Kanawa is almost as mysterious as the appearance of the storms and the origins of the infection. What was originally thought of as an unknown entity, newly traded on the global market, there is data to suggest that they have actually been doing business for quite some time. If one puts in the effort to investigate this massive administration, one would find shell companies and umbrella corporations with ties to the mega-giant dating back decades. There are countless chains of data to mine that verify this enterprise's network of connections, from its board of directors to the janitor in one of its subsidiaries. Every tax dollar has been paid, every purchase has been recorded, and every sale has been accounted for. Or so one would think if they were to stay above the surface and avoid the treacherous, cutthroat competition of the corporate world. The obvious paper trail of mergers and buyouts are the public's perception of Kanawa's rapid success. What most people don't know are the backroom and underground interactions that solidify the company's hold over the region. The public presence of towering high-rises and industrial manufacturing conceals the bribing, collusion, murder, and conspiracy that occurred to secure the corporation's control over the region. At the top of the organization sits Chief Executive Officer Ryuichi Kanawa, and no business decision is made without the approval of this skilled professional. He is known to be a ruthless and merciless negotiator, and his visionary tactics have made his wealth the richest on the planet. Far too busy with boardroom meetings and client interactions, Ryuichi is rarely seen in public, and leaves the matters of maintaining a positive brand image up to his business partner and sister, Rieko Kanawa. While her brother deals with paperwork, inspections, and quarterly profits, Rieko hosts the charities, speaks to the media, and shakes the hands of the customers. If Ryuichi is the mind of Kanawa, then Rieko represents the company's heart. Her celebrity status has helped Kanawa to not just be the largest and most profitable business, but also one of the most well-liked and respected among the consumers. Kanawa may have a piece of every market, from smart home appliances to microfiber clothing, and everything in between, but the most popular product Kanawa has brought to the region has been security. Beyond the research and development of advanced electric engines and wrist-worn cell phones, Kanawa is without a doubt the most popular brand when it comes to protection and defense. Leading the corporate department is the Kanawa Security Division that provides not only personal private security, but market safety for both businesses and government resources alike. It is not just the training and manpower that makes these bodyguards and protectors so valuable, but also the advanced weapons and armor used by their employees. These units and strike teams have become effective and dangerous when cleared for a mission, and tend to eradicate an infected area without prejudice, leaving a wake of collateral damage that tends to blemish the otherwise spotless reputation of Kanawa. Claiming that absolute elimination is necessary to save the rest of the population, this byproduct of the pacification efforts has given the corporation an ominous side that instills apprehension in the people when the security detachments arrive. The most feared of these units are the specialized elites, whose armor is reminiscent of Japan's legendary samurai warriors. These one-man armies have been known to be swift and unflinching in their duty to protect and serve. If there has been an AXIOM shift in the region, it has gone unnoticed. There are rumors that scientific R&D has had some major breakthroughs within East Asia lately, rapidly advancing their technological superiority. But that part of the world has always been on the leading edge of upgrades and efficiency. Besides, if there was anything superior to Core Earth's capabilities, it is most certainly kept out of reach of the average people, which is common when experimenting with advancements. The newly integrated hierarchical structure of the formulating corporatocracy is not just an efficient distribution of social class, but also solidifies the economy, trade, and production towards a slightly more accomplished environment than what Core Earth has been previously capable of. If magic and miracles are a part of the area, they are even less relevant here than what is seen on the rest of Core Earth, since the efforts for a more grounded and logical outlook has pushed aside anything not rooted in science. To the casual observer, the Pan-Pacifica realm is Core Earth. This subterfuge is thoroughly enforced and enhanced through the world laws of the Gokuraku Cosm hiding in plain sight on our world. It is the law of intrigue that ensures that no matter what well-intentioned or altruistic facade is projected to the public, behind closed doors there are almost always backroom deals involving criminal behavior of some kind. It is not just the Kanawa Corporation that is full of riddles, mystery, and conspiracy, but any and all institutions they have touched. Beneath the shining pillars of the majestic cityscapes resides a criminal underworld that is just as powerful as the corporate environment. The Yakuza have quietly usurped the majority of opposition in the region and seized control of the illegitimate and less reputable markets. The two societies often work together, assisting one another in expanding their resources and maintaining their privileges, and are often indistinguishable from one another. How these elements continue to persist is also a conundrum, since the police state of mass surveillance records and catalogs all activity within its borders. The constant monitoring of hovering drones and patrolling security keep a watchful eye out for any unusual activity, especially the infected. Among this ruthless and unforgiving environment, there are still those brave and noble enough to resist the corruption and despair that overwhelms most people. The law of tenacity inspires those willing to resist their enemies to be able to push their limits beyond their normal physical and mental capabilities. These tough and solid individuals can drag a fight out into extended rounds of continuous punishment that would otherwise knock a person unconscious. The conflict between intrigue and tenacity fuels the passions between rivals, and this is only exaggerated through the law of vengeance. Everything from a perceived insult to an honor killing can inspire the need for retaliation against the targeted offender. These feuds can create a lifelong nemesis that will inhibit and interfere with a person's life until the debt is paid. It is not difficult to make enemies when in this part of the world, and the people know how dangerous offending the wrong person can be. Pan-Pacifica is a realm of paranoia and conspiracy going through a technological and corporate renaissance. With the Kanawa Corporation's web woven into the entire world market, the region has been getting a massive industrial upgrade. Cities the corporation sets up headquarters in almost instantly get modern enhancements through urban renewal projects. Every day, new high-rises are constructed and old ones are torn down to be replaced with the latest smart buildings. Outdated power grids are converted to the latest and most efficient advancements, and the old combustible engines are disappearing in favor of the electric transportation to be used in the remodeled roadways. There is nothing to see here. You are not permitted to look past the surface, and any attempts to look deeper into what's going on in the region only ends up with a missing persons report. There is no invasion here, and if there was, it was halted by the Kanawa Corporation's responsible and honorable assistance. With no bridges or armies or reality-altering transformations, any suspicions of High Lords having any part in the affairs of East Asia is met with suspicion and disbelief. Anything contrary is merely speculative and unsubstantiated, and pressing the issue too far only ends up in people being killed, or worse. Being a Storm Knight from Pan-Pacifica is a dangerous and covert responsibility. The transformed often do not even realize that they have undergone a change, and those who do are dealt with swiftly if they start asking the wrong questions. Those individuals from the Gokuraku Cosm who have found secret ways to slip through to core Earth know all too well the consequences of telling the wrong person who you are or where you came from. There are unlimited concepts to construct to portray a resident of this secretive and exploitive reality. Electric samurai have emerged to protect the innocent from both mutants and Kanawa extermination. Shadowy ninja assassins stalk the rooftops, repaying debts for others or satisfying their own desire for revenge. There are many tough-as-nails investigators seeking justice who scour the dark offices and dirty alleyways looking for evidence and clues to expose corruption. Rebels and outlaws from all walks of life each have their own personal reasons for exposing or eliminating the criminal elements of the oligarchy enslaving core Earth under the corporate might of the marketplace. Although it's probably best if one doesn't go around talking about it, if you are stealthy and elusive about your goals and plans, you may survive long enough to reveal the truth behind the Pan-Pacific Partnership.